Is it under Throttle or Road?
To be honest.
Okay, we are now live.
Are we?
Yes.
Oh, we are.
As long as Becca did her job. There's probably a 20-second delay. Okay, so we're gonna do an introduction, and I voluntold myself because I didn't want anybody else to have to suffer. So, for everyone who is watching the live stream, this is the Litas Columbus and Litas Dayton, and we are presenting some camping gear information. So if you don't moto camp and you want to, or if you just like watching awkward people do weird presentations, here we are. We have something for everyone. I told you. I under-promised and over-delivered. So we're going to be showing our 3 different motorcycle setups. Amanda's going to go first, and she is going to be talking about her motorcycle and how she picks her camping gear and stuff like that. We do have a live audience, which sounds like we have a little game show going on.
We have a live audience, studio audience. Can I hear a round of applause from the studio audience? We ain't lying.
I told you we'd bring the weird, and we brought it. So they're going to be asking questions. You can ask questions in the live chat. I also will take, if you already know the answer to a question, you just want it presented, we can still present it. So we have some experienced campers in the audience.
Peanut gallery.
It's peanut gallery. If you can't hear us, please let us know because we're kind of winging the sound. Okay. So Amanda's going to get started, and I'm going to turn off the music in the shop.
Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Amanda from the Dayton Litas. The name of the game for me is packing small and light because I am camping off of a sport bike. That's all I have unless I want to take a kid's bike. So I started out camping on a Ninja 300 and I am now on to a Ninja 650. So I really started with my Viking Bags. And oh gosh, I have this big one on the bottom, and then I have 2 of these smaller ones, and that can either attach to the top or to the sides. And I really do attach to the sides because then I put my sleeping bag on top of that and then strap everything. That way, I'm going to do things a little bit differently this year, where I'm going to do this big bag. And then I have some side bags. These are made by Oxford, and they are expandable. They come in a couple different sizes, so I'm trying that out. They do work in conjunction with each other, where I'll have the Viking bag on the seat in the middle and then my 2 side bags off to the side, and then I can add those extra 2 Viking bags if I want to, if I need a little more extra clothes or things or food.
Yep.
So, like I said, the name of the game is packing small. So I hammock camp, and really, I put my basic gear, what I started out with, through Bear Butt actually, that BEARBUTT, hammocks, and you can get your tarp and your bug net from them, and everything literally fit in here with some tree straps. So this is how small it can be. This is where I'm at now. Okay.
This is what happens when you start moto camping for a while. It's bigger.
So I did shove my sleeping bag in here, so that's part of the reason why this is huge, but literally hammock, tree straps. This is my Puffalo pillow, and I love it so much because it is a fluffy down pillow, and you just put your little air up pillow inside of it.
You have to have a pillow.
Yes, pillow is much needed.
100%.
Amanda, do you want to show that closer to the camera?
The Puffalo?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the downy part. This is by Sierra Madre. Where am I?
You're good.
Okay. This is by Sierra Madre, so this is all the down pillow stuff. It just shoves into this bag. And I attach everything related to each other by a carabiner.
Smart.
So this is the Sierra Madre pillow that goes inside of it. Super easy. In addition to that, I have upgraded my tarp for my hammock to something that goes over and tapers down over the edges of the hammock, because if there's any crosswind with rain, then that rain could potentially come in, and a lot of hammocks I see just taper with the hammock, and I wanted something a little bit more, so I did upgrade my tarp. Speaking of tarps, can't tell you how many times I've tripped over my cords, so I've also upgraded to, I don't know, the flashy cords, so if you flash your flashlight across them, you actually see them.
Yeah. The reflective.
Cords.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I also upgraded my bug net to a Grand Trunk bug net, which actually gives me like a room almost. Like I unzip it and I step into it. I've got my little bug net room. It's not just like a, I was about to say something inappropriate. It's not just like a banana cover over your hammock. Okay? So this does have like a little bit of a footprint too, so my bags can go in it and not be on the dirt.
That's nice.
Which is great. Obviously with a hammock, you don't really have the privacy to change, even like hunched over in your tent. So I have taken my extra tarp and like wrapped it around some trees, and I made myself a changing room.
Nice.
So that's how I do that. In addition, I almost always have a bag on my side when I'm traveling. I always have a hydration pack with some extra tools in them, and just oh shit things that I may need along the way. So that's my setup. Any questions? Comments? Snyder Marks, what's up?
So you sleep only on hammock, not like in a tent at all?
I do have a tent for this year because I am going to a camp out where there will be no trees. So definitely have to check out the campsite and even ask the organizers, hey, are there trees that I could put my hammock up in? I've never had a situation yet that there were no trees, but there is a camp out that I'm going to this year that does not have any trees. A side note about the Kriege bags is they have this removable waterproof liner. So I can literally take all my gear out, slap it down in the campsite, and then take this to do my grocery shopping,
That's really nice.
like at the same time. So really nice to still keep everything together, but still take a bag with me if I need to. Other Snyder Marks.
Okay. Yeah, I can't believe she does that all on a sport bike. It's
Yeah.
honestly super impressive because I'm the polar opposite, as I bring everything in the kitchen sink and throw it all in this giant Viking bag.
Beth, am I interrupt you really quick?
Yeah.
If you have something small, that's your mark to get closer to the camera.
Okay, cool. All right, so first off, because the straps to the Viking bag are plastic and they're not the greatest, I also add on my own strappies. But this all involves having a nice sissy bar. So if you don't have that, like Nicole here, this bag won't work, and that's why you need a completely different style. That's why we're showing you guys 3 different types, because she has sport bike, I have cruiser, and then we have something in between the two. So let me take this off really fast.
For Amanda, are there any tips for camping on a smaller bike that, coming from a 300, you have history?
So I
Be closer to the sound.
Come back.
I do have an experience. It was my first camping trip, and I was I probably used every color bungee because none of them matched in a duffel bag the first time I went camping. The bungees that I took underneath, I crisscrossed to my rear pegs, and then the rear wheel kept shredding them. So panic mode. Luckily, I had people that were able to take some of my stuff. Side note, rock straps are okay straps. Are bungee straps that you can also like cinch down and tighten, that you don't have to like take on and off again.
I was gonna bring mine, but I couldn't find them.
This
So
is the thick boy, but your rock straps look like this. This is super stretchy. It's got a little bit of reflective in it, and it has loops on either end that you can use to cinch down things. So lifesaver. Super easy to pack and take with you. I always take extras just in case some piece of my equipment fails. Also a net to go over everything and secure things. I am taking this from someone in the audience who already explained this to us earlier today. But a net to go over everything and just keep everything tight and on the bike. But off of sport bikes, light is your best friend. So if you're looking up gear, backpacking gear, like a backpacking tent, a backpacking pillow, a backpacking sleeping bag. Those are going to be your light, small kind of pieces of gear.
Sorry, now that you can hear me talking. I might have missed this part when I was turning the music off. Did you talk about whether you ever split your gear with somebody else?
Not necessarily, but it's like I don't typically take any food. I will go out after I reach the campsite to bring food in. I've also borrowed somebody's mallet before to like put in my steaks if I can't shove it in with my boot. So someone's probably got something that you're gonna need if you forgot something.
Yep.
So I've never really been worried about missing a piece of gear.
And also don't worry to be friendly to other campers.
Yes.
Check out other campsites, say hi to your neighbors. Most people want to be friendly when you are camping. You don't have to be friendly if you don't want to, but
And if you're at a campground, there's probably a camp store that might have some backup stuff for you.
like salt and pepper.
I do.
Yes.
So if you're riding with a group of people, then is it a safe bet that you can kind of coordinate who's gonna bring what? Like if you have more space and like Beth's got the bigger bag, so maybe she takes the mallet.
Yep.
And you take something, and then you take something.
I
and
have to
kind of divide
repeat
it.
everything you said because they can't hear it.
Okay, that's fine.
So that was what I was trying to lead into over here is that if you have a smaller bike and you can't take everything on your motorcycle or you don't have bags, split your gear with somebody else that you trust to carry your gear and to show up at the same campground as you. But if you are camping with someone who has a bigger bike or you just don't have all your gear yet, you don't have to own everything. You need a tent, a ground pad, and a sleeping bag. You're ready to camp.
Yep.
If you're with other people.
Buy them a beer for carrying your shit.
Exactly.
And you need rock straps or a net so that you can pick up the beer and ride it back to the campsite.
Yeah.
For letting them borrow all their stuff.
It's so much trial and error, and you're going to find stuff you hate, you're going to find stuff you love, and you're going to switch things out constantly or find other people who have cooler things and you want that instead.
Yep.
You're going to realize, well, I haven't used this the last three trips, or I use this a ton, or I could use this, so you're going to be changing constantly.
things out constantly.
Yes.
Yeah. Once you find what you love, then you just keep it forever. But, so I'm a little bit different. I have the cruiser type. I can put on the giant Viking bag, strap it to my sissy bar, and literally throw everything in this. Similar to how Amanda said, when she gets to camp, she'll pull her secondary inner bag out. I'll just pull all this stuff.
If you've ever camped with Beth, this is actually how she unpacks the bag. So this is not a show.
We have, I will hammock camp if the opportunity presents itself. So usually I'll bring both things. I'll bring my smaller tent. Backpacking usually is preferred, so it will fit in a motorcycle situation. So this is a backpacking camping tent. It's a 2-person and it fits great, fits my gear in it. I recently upgraded my sleeping pad to an REI self-inflating one because I was getting sick and tired of my Amazon purchase one deflating in the night. So if you purchase something, usually buy the cheap thing first. If it doesn't work for a long time, switch out to something more expensive. That's kind of how I think about it when it comes to camping, but everybody does their own thing, but this one is amazing. REI has some good deals on occasion, so pay attention to their sales. Really can't say anything better about them. I also usually bring a camp chair. So usually they'll just give you a picnic table, and you sometimes want to sit close to the fire. Picnic table can't get as close. These things are like $20 on Amazon for a pair or so.
That fits in my Kruger bag as well on my sport bike, and it has this little line of stitching underneath, and I will sometimes shove my rock strap or bungee strap through there, and it'll attach to the top of
Yeah,
my
you can just like attach it wherever.
I can take it from you. Okay, so on that, it has a MOLLE system on it. You have the ability to strap it onto something. And I have this same chair, so 3 out of 3 of us have the same one. It's cheap. Do not get fooled by the more expensive ones. You do not need an expensive chair, but you do need a chair.
Yes. Buy the cheap thing first, and then if it breaks, buy the more expensive camping product
I
second.
know, I've had mine for years. You've had yours for years.
Yep.
At least 3 years. This actual brand is good.
But so we have our home girl. She's not here with us. Our home dog, who also swears by REI, has an REI camp chair, and she's like, get it, because it is more comfortable, more durable, but this will fit the bill. If you're trying to save money and go moto camping, check Amazon first, then decide. A floaty, because you're hopefully camping near a water source. Otherwise, don't go camping there. That's boring. Okay, and then I swear to God, this is the most important thing. If anybody asks me, what do I gotta take camping? I'm like, well, a tent, a sleeping bag. My sleeping bag goes up top here too, by the way, but I didn't bring it. This is the most important though. A pillow. If you don't have a motherfucking pillow, just start over, get a pillow, and then go camping. This one has memory foam in it, and it's amazing. So.
Real talk, you can use your hoodie that you bring with you or your t-shirts, roll them up, and use that as a secondary pillow if you forgot your super awesome pillow.
If you forgot your pillow, use your fucking floaty. I don't know. But anyways, there are many options of many different styles of moto camping things that you can bring with you. A big old pillow like this doesn't work for Amanda because she's on a sport bike, but it works for me because I can just shove all this crap right back in there. And I'm ready to leave. Goodbye, everyone. I'm leaving now.
Do all of that type of style bag open from the side?
Yes, so Viking Bags has many different styles of bags. This is not the only company that has these sissy bar strappable bags. This is just one of the many. And most of them open from both sides, so.
And different brands open entirely differently because the sissy bar bag that I have is 100% from the top.
Yep,
So it just depends on the brand.
it depends on the brand, and this one also came with a rain fly, so I don't have to use trash bags anymore. Woo!
Trash
But-
bags are totally acceptable.
Trash bags work to cover up your stuff too. Before I had this, I used a backpacking backpack, and I strapped that to my sissy bar. Scraped the crap out of my fender, but you learn. So, I got a real camping gear now. So, anybody
Sarah
have
has a question.
They're not questions actually, but like
Comments.
Also, yes, having camped on a sport bike before, Ducati Monster, with no luggage options whatsoever. They do have inflatable pillows that are about half the size of a water bottle, and they're better than nothing if you're saving space. And I'm sorry, Sierra Trading Post. I didn't mention that because it's like
Yes.
TJ Maxx,
Yep.
but for like peasants like myself.
So, we also have another source. REI has good sales, but Sierra Trading Post, if you've ever checked that out, Google it. They're like a TJ Maxx, for example, of camping gear, and you can save a lot of money. Sometimes the stuff will sell out quick, so you have to pay attention to, what's available on there, but it is really important to realize that you can find camping gear, but not super expensive. Start small. Like Nicole said, you only need very basic items to get started. Don't be intimidated. You ready?
I'm going last, and it's funny to watch both of you guys go because I'm a completely different human being than both of you. From my bike to my style of camping to what I bring.
Yeah.
I usually camp by myself and far away and go a long distance to get there. So my camping setup is survive by myself with no camp store to... Bye, Sarah.
I'm sorry, it's gonna rain, and I just washed my bike.
Bye, friends.
So I guess I'm just gonna start with pillow because I have mine out, but both of these are a pillow. One is one where you shove your socks into it.
That's a pillow?
Yeah, some of us aren't bougie. And then
That's not a pillow.
this is a pillow
Okay, that might be a real pillow.
that blows up. This is what
Okay,
Sarah was talking about.
That's a real pillow. Yeah, those ones are nice.
It's okay. I prefer the one where I shove my socks in.
Oh, trash.
Wow.
I like the second one.
Believe it or not, this is a judgment-free zone.
I judge camping gear heavily.
So, proof that I have the same chair that Beth and Amanda have, and it actually is really good. I've had this for probably 5 seasons now, and the fact that it's clean and in one good piece says a lot.
So my husband, who really, really hates camp chairs, manages to sit in that one, so that says a lot.
And it's only $30. I paid $30. Yours was cheaper.
Yeah.
We didn't talk a lot about how you start fires or survive. I am at least
Google it. I'm kidding.
at least 2 methods of starting a fire so that you can cook for yourself. I used fire starters because I'm lazy.
That's the best way. It's the best way, fire starters. Or like one of the sticks. Yeah,
Fire sticks.
there you go.
You can also use like a flint and steel. That's my second backup, or a lighter.
That's the worst way.
Guys didn't talk about
It's so hard. Ugh. Flint and steel. It's like caveman.
If you ever camp with the Litas, I will end up cooking for you, so it makes sense that I'm going to talk about the food part of this. Pop-Tarts, tuna in a packet is really good, or chicken in a packet. Energy drinks that are in a packet so that you don't have to carry Gatorade with water. Usually you'll find potable water at a campsite, so you won't have to worry about bringing water. If not, unpack, go to the grocery store, get gallons of water, and come back. Don't try to carry it with you on a long trip.
If you camp in Ohio, please don't ever drink any unverified water source, I beg of you.
From experience.
Yes.
I'm not a brand snob except for one product, and it is this cot. This is the King Camp cot, and it's like $100, but it's worth it. it is this size and it fits in my saddlebags. And I actually don't go on the backpacking rule. I go on so the lightweight rule doesn't mean anything to me. It's the size of the poles. So if my saddlebag is 14 inches, it doesn't matter if it weighs 4 pounds.
There is an inappropriate joke
Being made by the peanut gallery right now.
in my head even. Can we reiterate? It doesn't matter how big or large or heavy it is, just the size of the poles.
Anyway.
But that does matter depending on the size of your saddlebags or the size of your...
Yeah, so some people will just strap things.
Listen, I can get big poles, okay? She can get a little bit smaller poles. So just gotta pay attention to the
They
length
fit in the
of poles.
box and that's all that matters.
Yes. Moving on.
So I put a blow-up air mattress on the cot, so I am bougie in that way, but I don't need a pillow, so there you go. I also pack my tent poles separate from everything else, because this is squishy and can fit anywhere else, and then I can stick the poles anywhere I want.
Probably with the top, right?
Yeah, usually, yes. So I also keep a second fire starter, which for me is flint and steel, so that you're not stuck with just a lighter. You know, that works. We're not going to try to catch the shop on fire.
It does not work. At least for me.
That's Sarah, if you can hear it, she's on a multi-strata.
She's also wearing scorpion gear too.
Nobody talked about soap yet, so we're going to talk about soap because in a lot of places,
We didn't hit on cooking gear either. I didn't
well, I'm
bring
the
any
cook,
cooking
so
gear
that makes sense.
either. I brought stuff to eat with. Did you see that?
I use Dr. Bronner's because you can also use it as body soap and shampoo. It's kind of an all-in-one. Just wash your dishes while you're in the water with you.
Use your gray water to shower thine self.
Light, you should have at least 2 different, what?
Don't wash yourself in your gray water. That's icky.
I'm being.
She's being facetious. We're not that gross. We actually, so if we camp with the Litas as a group, we tend to camp where there's running water. So
Yeah,
we
you don't have to use your gray water to shower.
But if you backcountry camp, you should.
Wait, okay, let's explain to people who don't go camping what gray water is. Does everybody know what gray water is?
I
Feel
don't.
free.
No! Okay, so when you go camping, you gotta clean up your stuff, right? You gotta clean your plates,
Your plates and your
silverware and your pots and your pans. The water that's left after is not supposed to just be thrown wherever. I mean, I know people who drink it. If you don't use soap, you can just drink it, but it's a way to make sure that you dispose of this water that may have bacteria in it because you may have just let your dinner cookware sit overnight at the campsite and you clean it out in the morning. There's designated dump spots at campgrounds to get rid of gray water. Usually it's near water sources.
So speaking of water, if you camp with a group at a campsite, you usually have potable water. If you don't, you should get something that filters your water. So I carry a spare filtration system. So if the camp water is contaminated or something, you can at least have some. This was like $20 on Amazon, and it'll last for like 400 gallons of water. You clearly don't need that much, but you need to have some sort of backup, either buy water or have a filtration system if you're not sure about the water where you're camping.
So many people use those life straws now.
They're fine.
There's the old school method, iodine tablets.
That does make your water taste
Oh,
disgusting.
it tastes nasty. That's like emergency, oh no, what am I doing out here? I can't get water.
Can you explain the difference between clean water, gray water, and black water?
No.
Yes,
Cool.
clean water is water you can drink and cook with. It is not water that you need to have for showering, but if you brush your teeth in the shower, it should be clean. Gray water is water that you've used to wash your body or your cookware, or that you've rinsed something off with. Black water is water that is combined with your waste.
Yeah, that's one that's new to me.
So if you're camping and you see things labeled as dump your gray water or black water, there is a difference because you can dump gray water near a river, you can't dump black water near a river. You shouldn't be putting anything with your waste near the water sources.
Yeah.
That's why you need to have a backup, because people do that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So since we're going to talk about camping, cooking gear stuff. I have a couple of things that I have for cooking, and that is my camp stove, which packs down to this small,
I have the exact same one.
and it's like
Amazon.
$12.
Swear by
It's
it.
super cheap. I need a
Had it
fuel
for like a
source.
decade.
Yeah.
Serious.
I've had this one for like 5 years, but I've had one prior to this for like 10 years before that. They last a long time. They're not very complicated.
The fuel sources last a long time too. Those little bottoms.
Depending on what camp stove you buy, you need to match it with, this is isobutane, which is a fuel source. You could have, there's some that use propane, there's some that use fuel like gasoline. Those are not as common here in the United States, but you can find it if you really want to go backcountry camping. You can just siphon gas out of your gas tank and put it in your camp stove. But I use isobutane. Do you guys both use isobutane as well?
I believe so. Haven't camp stove yet, but it's on my list.
Amazon, $12 for anybody wanting a camp stove. It's great.
The reason I like isobutane is because you can get this for like $5 at Walmart if you are in the middle of nowhere. It's a very common fuel source, so you don't have to worry about being like, can I find, propane's not that hard to find, but it's hard to find in this size to carry with you. But finding something that's some other like alcohol-based fuel source, you might have a hard time finding that in the middle of nowhere if you run out. It looks, I'm getting a lot of nods at this part, so like I'll just be cooking for all of you is what usually happens. Got it, yep, got it. So that's why I carry pots that are way too big for me by myself. This is not the set that I would camp with by myself, but I can make enough for this room in this size. Usually if you camp with the Litas, you get breakfast tacos made by yours truly. Usually hot dogs at night. Like you can be really simple with cooking, or you can be like gourmet like Gina.
Well, I made a steak when I went camping with my husband, but I made him carry the cast iron, so.
You made shrimp jambalaya our first.
Yeah, everyone judged me for making shrimp tacos.
You carried raw fish on a camp out.
They were frozen when I left, and by the time we cooked them, they were defrozen.
Additionally, you could take foil and make foil pack meals. You know, just pack your foil all around your food, stick it in the embers of your fire, and wait for it to all cook.
I used to call those hobo dinners.
Yep.
The other option, this is what I camp with when I'm by myself because it packs down really small. I can have like 60% of my camp gear if I'm by myself. If I'm camping with other people, I usually bring a lot of extra stuff. We have a Lita who, talking about Cheryl. If you need something, Cheryl probably has it. So if you're camping with the Litas
Everything.
and you need, I don't know, an electric battery air pump, she's got one. So you don't have to worry about that too much. But you can find stuff that packs down really small. Like this is a cup, bowl, and pot set that packs down to like half the size of my like group cooking set. And then can also go on my camp stove. So it just depends on what kind of thing you want to make for what sort of equipment you need to bring. So you need to decide that for yourself. Are you going to cook or are you going to buy a sub at the gas station on the way into the campsite? Or are you trying to like commune with nature and cook outside?
Yeah, depends on the day.
Any questions? Yes.
So raccoons or bears? Varmints.
So Amanda's comment / question was raccoons, varmin, and bears.
Oh
We don't really
my.
have a bear problem here, but if you camp somewhere where there might be bears, you need to have a bear box. Or a campsite might have a bear box free to use, or a bear bag, something you can string up in a tree. If you are camping really much anywhere else, you at least need to put your trash away from your main campsite, and even then you're still going to get raccoons. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, if you have a cooler or anything, they're going to target it. I woke up one morning and had raccoon handprints all over my saddlebag, like they were trying to figure out how do I open these little things. So, you know, they're smart and they will get into your food and eat it. If you have any Velcro rippable opening spots that food's accessible into, they will find it and they will eat it.
Which also means you shouldn't have any food inside your tent. So you need to have some container to have your food outside your tent, because if it's in your tent, they will come in the tent and be with you. However you want to take that. Any other?
Come with me, man. Yeah, any other questions? Are there any comments, questions, concerns in the live stream? Anybody asking anything?
Eric asked, what did I miss? I'm late. Well, you missed the whole thing. Can't help you there. It'll be up at the end.
Yeah.
But something I also bring, because if you ride with us, it's going to rain. So a packable line dry, so that you can take off all of your wet clothes that you will have when you arrive at the campsite. Sorry. And line dry your clothes, because if you are in the woods, they probably don't have facilities. But if they do, take advantage of them, because you really need to make sure you keep your feet dry and all your other bits dry, you know what I'm saying? While you're camping, because riding with swamp ass is not fun. So be ready to change your clothes, bring extra pair of socks. Even in my regular saddlebags every day, I have a spare pair of socks.
Extra socks and underwear when it comes to camping is like, you can have like 2 outfits.
You could have nothing else, just
So
bring
last
extra socks and underwear.
weeks.
That's all I care about.
But you need an extra pair of socks and underwear. I don't care if you forget a blanket or a sleeping bag, at least I hope you brought an extra pair of socks and underwear. But also, I bring an extra blanket with me when I go camping.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Because people sometimes forget their sleeping bag or their blankets or things of that sort. So it's always good just to have extra. Help out a neighbor. Ooh, baby.
So I found a good brand that has a travel blanket. It's not a Puffle.
Buffalo.
But if I'm at all advertised to correctly, that's really expensive.
Not really.
This one was $12 on Amazon.
Nice.
So you can find really inexpensive stuff that's actually good. I have bought this for several friends who are like, oh yeah, I thought it was going to be 90 degrees during the day. It'll be 40 degrees at night. Just wait for that, because if you go camping and you think it's going to be really warm overnight, you'll be finding friends.
Yeah,
and
that's
other tents.
one thing we really didn't hit on is that if you do go camping in a place that you know it might go below 30 degrees at night, you need that rated sleeping bag for that. And a lot of times you'll forget and be like, oh, mine's rated for 30 degrees, and you'll get there and you're like, crap, I have a 32 degree one, and you're just a little cold that night.
So the ratings on sleeping bags are actually really confusing. The 30 degrees is you won't die, not you will be comfortable. So if you're looking for a sleeping bag and it says it's usually like a 20-degree spread, so if it's 50 and 30, 50 you'll be comfortable, 30 you won't die. So that's not really a 30-degree sleeping bag. So get the one that you can afford that has the lowest, bigger number, and then you'll be comfortable.
Yep.
As far as hammocks go, you're going to lose all of your heat out the bottom of your hammock, so your butt and your back are what's going to be cold. I can attest to that. You're going to be cold. So they make an underquilt for your hammock, and it's an underquilt that goes under your hammock.
It's like a cocoon.
It is what it's
aptly
meant to be. Okay, this one is from Wise Owl Outfitters. This is called the Flare Underquilt. It does give you some extra warmth under there, and I also have my sleeping bag, and I also have a fleece liner for my sleeping bag if it's super cold. Hopefully it's not. So this is what I take if I know it's going to be roughly 50 degrees or less at night. Do check your weather before you go out anywhere, see what it's going to be like, and prepare for that.
Anybody got anything else?
Yeah. So I know I sleep like crap when I go camping because my sleeping bag like restricts my movement. So do you guys have any like tips for that?
You might be a camping quilt person.
Okay.
So there are quilts that you can get that are like a sleeping bag, but they don't like zip around your feet.
Okay.
Or you might need a sleeping bag with a bigger toe box.
Yeah.
So is yours a mummy sleeping bag? Like, does it cinch really close around your
And
face?
taper at the feet.
I think it doesn't go around my head. I think it might taper a little bit at the feet.
So my summer weight sleeping bag is more like a quilt that zips together. And if you have a mummy sleep, so this is technically a mummy, a mummy top. It goes around your head. But the toe box on a mummy sleeping bag tends to be really restrictive. So if you get a square body, you have more room. This one also zips in 2 different directions, so you just need to leave that little foot out rather than have it enclose you all the way. you can sleep a little cooler, or just completely open it and lay it on yourself like a quilt.
Okay.
As long as you have the ground pad underneath of you, you won't get too cold.
Okay.
But if you feel restrictive, just if you get like I think it's called a 1.5 bag, where it's like made for a slightly bigger person, you might have more room. But it's gonna pack way bigger.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. They make doubles even. I have one with my husband, and it's really nice. But
I can do that.
it packs so massive that it's. Yeah, there are jumpsuits.
So for those of you who are in the live stream, there's apparently a suit that you can get that just like snuggy zips a quilt.
There are jumpsuits made of sleeping bags. Do I
That
want
sounds
one?
more restrictive
Yes.
to me, to be honest. I don't feel like
No, I would be jumping around the campsite.
So a camp quilt, is that like, are you gonna stay as warm in that? Because it's not like wrapping around you as much.
My
I don't know.
suggestion would be laying on top of your sleeping bag like you normally would, and then use the camp quilt on top.
So I keep this, where did I put it? So I keep this extra travel blanket because if it's really cold, then you can just lay it on top of you.
Yep.
But they make much thicker ones that pack down pretty small. This one's a summer weight one that I put on top of my summer weight sleeping bag for the fall. And then I don't transition to my winter sleeping bag until it's like really cold. But is it the clothes that you're wearing that are restrictive, or is it the bag itself?
I mean, I think the problem is that I sleep in like the fetal position or flamingo position.
So you need like a 1.5 because you don't use like the foot at all.
No, not really.
I would just a quilt might work for you because you could zip it like hamburger style
Okay.
and then just have your halfway. What is that like?
She's trying to
Versus
imagine
hot
it.
dog.
Hamburger
I was
versus
just
hot
thinking
dog.
about how I was going to go to the store.
Got a question?
Yes.
What?
I don't have a question.
Oh.
There is a question in the chat
Okay.
asking about, do you guys use quick setup tents?
Like
I
the
do not.
ones that you grab from the middle and like, whoo-hoo.
I do not use those quick setup tents. I don't like them.
So the frame on that is super flimsy. They usually fold like a photography reflector,
Just
and
like
then it's a
yeah.
big circle.
Yeah.
So I'm
My
not sure where I'm gonna put it.
my opinion of them is they work great if you are trying to hike in, hike out of some sort of place and situation. But as far as moto camping goes, it's not smart to do because if you camp in a thunderstorm like we did last year, it's
They're not-
gonna be blowing all over the place in the night, and you're not gonna get any rest.
But
Yes,
if it's
you-
nice, I've seen them work.
They're stupid fast, and people would just be like,
Those are the ones that you untwist and expand, but there's also one that's advertised it's green and you pull it up from the middle and like, it's like,
is that like a TP one?
Yeah.
What was that motion?
literally it's like, whoo, whoo.
I don't mind them for just like car camping, everyday regular, just going camping with the family type situation. But for this, I don't think it's sturdy enough.
Yeah,
And
they're just
small
not very sturdy. The dry run for the Litas last year was the thunderstorm, and then a long distance camp where you have to like figure out where to. Their frames don't break down because they're easy up. So if you can't take the pieces apart, they won't pack down very far.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you want to try it. I don't know how expensive they are.
So they're cheaper and convenient for people that want to just do easier camping, and I think that's the whole point of it. I almost got one, but the fact of the matter is they're going to be flimsy in a rainstorm. So I don't.
The other side of that is that tents are getting a lot easier and quicker to put up.
Oh yeah.
So I bought a tent because I'm hitting a moto camping event where there will be no trees. We're in a field. So I had to get a tent. It's 2-person tent, and there are just 2 poles, and that's it.
Yep. Most of them are just 2 poles now.
Slide it through, taper it down, and you're good.
Yeah.
So go for simple. There's a lot of things on YouTube. YouTube's your best friend because they're going to review it. They're going to tell you what they think, if they found it successful, and they're going to show you how to put it up.
What brand is Nicole's summer blanket?
The blanket itself.
This one. It is an easy. It feels really
it's
nice.
like $20. Sometimes they're on like flash deal for like 10.
And Ken is wondering tips for keeping mosquitoes and other insects away.
You'll notice we all immediately went to whatever our solution is because you'll hate your life if you don't solve this problem for yourself. I am environmentally friendly with everything except for the D. Use the D or hate your life.
Do it.
Because if you
Yours is bigger than mine.
D is your best friend.
Yes.
Just don't put it on your hands and then eat afterward. But D.
Don't do that.
That's your options.
Not breath spray.
It is no, just D or go home. I don't know what to tell you.
Those little wristbands and weird, like, I mean, you can bring a citronella candle or something, but
I've used the wristbands for years. They don't do anything.
no, they don't work.
They worked well for me. I used them at band camp.
Really? One time at band
Did you
camp, they
spray
worked
it
for
with tea?
Becca, but
No.
they don't work for us, okay?
They don't work.
I would put one on Monday.
What's that?
Went Monday to Friday. I did one Monday, one Wednesday, one Friday.
Oh.
And it worked all week.
Something to experiment with. I was noticing Nicole's bag that she was packing her sleeping bag into, and I noticed there's a plastic piece on it. Maybe that's supposed to be detached, but it looked like it was ripped. But this is not the pack that my sleeping bag came in. I got this separate. This is a Sea to Summit cinch thing. So it's like got 2 cups on the ends, and it expands, and you shove your bag in there, and then you tighten it down. It's really small. So I found this to be super, super strong in the, where it's sewn. I don't know what you call those. But it's a way to make things a lot smaller, so I would highly recommend some of these. And it's been pretty waterproof too if you cinch it down enough, because this is what hangs on to the top of my bags.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep, I just use these.
So what you're talking about is the stuff sack that my
Yes.
sleeping bag comes in, and I just wait for my original one to break, and then I get a new one, because they will break. Your stuff sack will break regardless of the quality of the item that's inside of it. First camp, and this stuff sack broke. 10th grade, stuff sack sucks.
Buy a variety pack of stuff sacks just for clothing. That's from personal experience. If you shove clothing in with your bags or whatever, they may end up getting wet or something may happen. Having a stuff sack like this for your clothes is really great too.
They come in different sizes. Just experiment. Cabela's, I think it was, let me keep returning the ones when I got the wrong size. So there
Walmart
it is.
has a really cheap pack of 3 that I've used ever since college. So
Walmart's been a good friend for some basic
seriously,
camping stuff.
if you're
Good
like
friend.
Amazon or Big Buddy Bezos, keep paying him his big bucks. If you don't want to do that,
angry.
I hate him. Anyways, Walmart does have decent hammocks, tents, sleeping bags, sleeping pads. If you're in an I forgot my sleeping pad situation, there's usually a local Walmart near most camping sites that you're at. So, anything else? Anybody got?
Eric mentioned Skin So Soft from Avon is best for insects.
I have really heard that, actually, and I've seen quite a few people who,
Is Avon still
Use
making
it?
products?
yeah.
Skin So Soft by Avon apparently is a good anti-bug product. But why though?
It always has been.
It always has been. That's not the answer I'm looking for. What chemicals inside this DEET? Yeah, why would a Skin So Soft by Avon have DEET in it though? That doesn't make any gosh darn sense. But
Moving on. So, speaking of,
she's moving on. Okay.
when you are done camping, this is the part that I think everybody misses, and it's kind of a personal mission of mine, is that when you use a compression sack and your sleeping bag gets compressed down, it's compressing the down or the down alternative that's in it, and it'll lose the rating as time goes on if you leave it like this. So it's really important to figure out what to bring on a camping trip, how to use it when you're camping. It's the most important on how to unpack your stuff when you get home and take care of it later. I don't leave any of my compressibles in the compression sack when it's at home. So I take all the sleeping bags and my tents out and leave them hanging in a closet so they can decompress.
Please take your tent out when you get back.
Air out your stuff, take care of your stuff, get into your sleeping bag clean so that or at least clean it when you get home. If you can't shower right before you get in your sleeping bag or go swimming or whatever it is to at least wash off the ick. Or use a sleeping bag liner. Probably not for you, but if you leave your bag in the compression sack, like until your next camping trip or over the winter, if it's a 50-degree sleeping bag, now you have a 60-degree sleeping bag. And the next season you have like a 70-degree sleeping bag. It won't decompress after you bring it out of the bag if you leave it in there for a long time. So that's actually what keeps you warm, is the air in between all the fluffy stuff. So if it doesn't have a lot of room for fluffy stuff air filling, you don't have that rating on the sleeping bag anymore. So taking care of your stuff after the fact is just as important as buying good stuff. And that's how you can get cheap stuff to last a long time.
You will ruin a tent immediately if you go camping and it's raining and then you pack up all your damp, wet stuff and never unpack it. Next season, you now have a moldy tent. You can try and treat it, but it's going to smell like mold and must, and you're probably just going to want to throw it away. And I'm speaking from experience. Learn not the hard way and just listen to Nicole.
So in the chat, somebody said garbage bags are important too. Yes, I always have at least one garbage bag, one trash bag for trash at your campsite, and also for emergency waterproofing if you have to wear it. If you ride with us, it's going to rain. I'm sorry, but sometimes you have to wear something.
I'm a trash man.
If your rain gear fails, or if your waterproof bag flies off while you're riding and you just need to cover something, those are all things that have happened to all of us. So having something that could be considered waterproof just shoved in somewhere that can press really small, and you have a million uses for it. So if you don't use plastic bags at the grocery store, just keep one of your mom's or something.
Did our studio audience have some questions?
Yeah, you mentioned food storage earlier. You don't have a lot of room on your bike to bring like a cooler, so I was wondering like where you're putting this food.
So we were just asked that we don't have a lot of room for food storage on our bikes, and usually we just go and pick up stuff, but what do we do with perishables, like things that need to stay cold, like shrimp, for example?
And beer.
And beer, for example.
So if you buy beer at a camp store, buy a styrofoam cooler from the camp store.
I have a compressible cooler that actually slides into
The sport bike is not going to carry your cooler.
That's why it's good to have friends.
Yep, that's why you camp with friends.
Friends to carry our beer.
Speaking from experience, Amanda?
Yes.
So depending on what kind of food connoisseur you are when you're camping, depends on what you have. I'm the cook, I have the spices. They don't care if they can fit spices somewhere. But having a cooler with like instant coffee and Arby's sauce, I don't know when I picked this up, but it'll go on something. Peanuts, a straw. If you use straws, you should have reusable straws so you don't have to throw them away. I always pack ramen with me, because if you get to the campsite and it's dark and you're like, now I have to cook,
Yeah.
you can at least eat ramen with a packet of chicken in it. It all depends on what your threshold is, but camp stores usually have stuff. The camp store inside the campground is going to be expensive. Like 6 eggs are going to be $5.
Yeah.
But if you go to the grocery store a couple miles down the road, you'll get a regular $2 dozen of eggs. So it just depends on how far you want to go, but always having food that you can make. Like, I always go back to this because I would never do it, but Amanda Zitto, who is the end-all be-all about motorcycle camping, always has a can of soup on her. Because you can literally just put that on your camp stove, take the lid off, and heat it up, or pour it into your
You
pan.
know what?
Just
I would
have soup.
prefer a can of SpaghettiOs.
Whatever your thing is. But this is just a pill organizer from
That's
Amazon, and it is Amazon. But I have like sea salt, everything bagel seasoning.
It's rainbow.
That's genius.
Rainbow.
But then you don't have to have like a bunch of bulky things in your pack that I can.
I cannot tell you how many times I've forgotten salt and pepper, and I'm like, that is literally the only thing this meal needs is salt and pepper. Camp store I go.
And hot sauce.
Hot
It's a
sauce.
tiny thing of hot sauce because anything can be palatable or made palatable by hot sauce. So
Yeah, so most of the
I second
time
that.
people just unload, like I'll pull everything out of this bag, and then I'll go to the store with all my friends and be like, yo, I'll throw your groceries in here, get whatever you
the other option, which I literally use the same one as my example because I do not use these, they're fine. They're just, this is a $14 bag of food.
They're so expensive.
If you have a dehydrator, you can do this yourself. I used to do this myself. It's not worth it. I'll just get fresh food and make it at the camp.
Okay.
But if you need emergency food, this is spicy sausage pasta. You boil water, you pour it in, you have food.
They're backpacking meals. I mean, they're
It's
great
fine.
for if you're like, do ramen noodles instead.
Yes, do ramen, because these $14, 25 cents.
Those are the bougie backpacking meals, okay?
As far as ice goes for your coolers though, those come so small that usually everybody can kind of pitch in and at least take a bag. I can take a couple bags of my stuff.
The biggest thing is just making sure everybody brings one of these containers.
Yes, I've seen those foam beverage coolers. Words. Seeing the foam coolers strapped to people's bikes, it's totally fine. Just don't go over any jumps.
Rebecca, did you have a question?
Less a question, more a comment. Back to trash management. If you are going camping, leave with more trash than you bring.
Yes.
Keep your national parks clean, keep your public lands clean.
Yep.
Yes.
It makes everything more enjoyable for everyone.
And there is a misconception, and I have found this with trying to schedule our camping excursions, is that they don't like us.
Bikers are dirty.
So-
They're thieves. They're terrible people. I know. It's okay.
So, pick up after yourself. Don't rev your motorcycles at night at a campground. We're trying to, not get kicked out of places. Something we didn't talk about was tools that you should have on you.
You want to travel with people who have them, or make sure you have.
Why are you looking at me?
Because she usually is our lady. But this year I built my own tool roll so I can do some solo dolo stuff, and I don't have to rely on anybody else.
She's the one that usually gets the pop tires, though.
Yeah, she's the one that really has the bad luck that needs the tire pumps.
Just keep things.
But yeah, you just coordinate with the people you're camping with, and if you are alone, then you really gotta make sure that list that you go through, check it once, check it twice before you start to travel, because you are relying on yourself. You have to have all your tools with you. You have to have all your camping gear with you. You can stop and get food along the way. Don't worry about that.
From experience, what are the tools you guys kind of can't live without?
So from experience, what are the tools we cannot live without? Tire plug kit. From Nicole's experience, how many times have you ruined a tire?
All of them.
All of them that she's ever owned, every single one. What, like 3 times now? Twice?
2 back-blown tires on a spoke wheel bike, and my current cast wheel bike has a plug tire.
So 3 times this lady has had bad tire luck. So yeah, she definitely has to always carry that with her. Highly
I
suggested.
tend to carry, my tool roll is actually in my 4-wheel vehicle for once, but I usually have Allen keys, a basic screwdriver with zip ties, duct tape, adjustable wrench, any tools your bike specifically needs, a spare set of spark plugs,
Yeah.
at least the information about what oil your motorcycle takes. If you have a chain and you're going more than about 500 or 600 miles, you need chain cleaner and a chain cleaner brush.
Yeah, you're supposed to clean your chain that much if you go on long distance travel, people.
If you have belts or shaft drive, you don't need to do chain maintenance, but if you have a chain, you need to maintenance it on a trip that's more than that.
Chains are cool, okay, but they require maintenance. So,
Yes. I can't find it right now, but I got something called a fan tick. I think it's an air compressor, super teeny tiny.
Oh,
you can
I've
get them
seen
really
those,
small.
yes.
I am apparently not as organized as I hoped I was.
so air compressor, yes.
It's super small. I don't think more than one person in your group really needs to have it, but it's there if you need it. I also think it comes with an attachment to like blow up your air mattress too, so kind of cool that way. Dual purpose, triple purpose.
I didn't bring mine, but I also have a emergency battery pack, jumper pack. It also can charge cell phones. It also has a giant light on it. I just got that from not being able to start my bike last year when I went on a long distance road trip, and I didn't want to deal with that again. So
So it was commented that dry bags are okay as coolers, question mark. I'm not sure if you meant the question mark because that sounds like a statement. Sounds good to me.
It is
a
a
dry
statement.
bag will hold ice and water, and if it's clean, if you're confident that the inside of the dry bag is clean, then you have melted water. I would drink it.
yeah, I mean honestly, I've seen so many people throw a dry bag into a saddlebag, and then fill it with ice and beer. And that's your cooler for the night.
Aaron asked, how do you prep for serious oil leaks on the road? Well, you service the bike before you leave.
How do you prep for serious oil leaks? You just put more oil in.
That was why I said make sure you know what oil your motorcycle takes before
Yeah.
you take a trip, and then that's how you prep for a serious oil
I
leak.
was
You just put
leaking
more.
oil the whole way from here to New York last year, and you know what? I didn't have to put in more oil because I just kept checking it.
Nothing's wrong with Murphy.
And we just looked at every gas stop to make sure that gas stop had the oil that she needed in case. So, Sarah said, don't buy a bike that leaks oil. That's not what he's talking about. He's making fun of me.
So basically, sometimes you can have bikes spit out oil, puke it out, if it's tired of your bullshit, okay? It happens. Aaron.
Yeah. And the fact that everybody knows that that's who's asking that question.
I love you, Aaron.
Okay, we're going to wrap up. Any other questions?
Our studio audience is very dwelled down to a few last remaining souls. They're the real OGs. Anything else?
Okay. Last thing I have, most likely you're taking your phone with you, so have a battery pack to hook that up to. Same for your comm system. Make sure you have the wires for that. Ziploc bag will also save this from rain as well, and so will save your phone if you've got your phone hooked up to the front of your bike, because I've lost 2 phones now to serious rain. Because again, people get rained on. So Ziploc baggie over the phone. I can still hook it to my little connector, which is RAM mount, so it might be different with quad locks and such, but
And this is why we have 3 presenters, because I would never in a million years put my phone on my handlebars. So I use a Beeline, which I'm going to take this to. It's just
It's
this
so
little
cute. It's like an apple.
round GPS unit. I have no other need for my phone on my handlebars besides that. So this is waterproof, and it connects to your phone. Phone can stay in your pocket, does not fly out, doesn't get wet, doesn't get lost, doesn't overheat.
It's pretty fancy.
There's a question asking any experience with mobile solar chargers, and then I will piggyback on that.
Yeah.
And battery tender chargers, USB adapters for charging off of your bike.
I have the same solar charger that Amanda has in her hand there, and it actually works really well. I charge my GoPro batteries on it as well.
it also has a flashlight and a compass on it as well. Don't know if you like those other features.
And this little thing never leaves my pocket. This plugs into my bike where I would charge the battery at. So this can, whatever USB thingy, I can charge my bike, on my bike with. So.
I also have a USB charger on my bike as well, and so I will charge my phone on the way. The Velcro straps that you use to organize your wires, those have been a lifesaver as well, because then I can strap down any loose straps on my gear, or I can use them on those wires to like just clean everything up and not have things flying down the road.
Okay, our last question is going to be number 1 tip for someone doing their first moto trip. Beth, you go first.
Number 1 tip for your first moto trip. Make a list. Check it before you leave. And just be confident that this first time isn't going to go the way that you planned.
Go with people who have done this before if you can. Make sure someone knows where you are if you're going alone.
I think those are really my first answers too. Go with other people, and if you're going to go by yourself, someone should know literally your exact GPS location, not the campground, the exact GPS location. And if you don't know how to do that, if you know where your campsite is pre-registered, you can go on Google and find your actual coordinates. Because if you say, hey, I have my friend who's in emergency, I haven't heard from her in a day, I don't know where she is in the campsite, the camp people might not be able to help you. But just do it. That was Becca's answer, is you really should just do it. If you don't like it, okay, great, you don't like it.
Yeah.
You'll probably like it.
The number 1 tip is just try it. And you'll love it. And if you don't, then move on with your life. Yeah.
If you really don't like it the first night, there's probably a hotel within an hour of where you're at.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Seen it happen? It's totally okay. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, I would not make fun of any friend if they came camping and was like, yeah, I'm going to go to a hotel, this sucks.
Totally
Like,
understand.
yeah, this isn't for everybody. I like suffering.
Okay, Becca, if you could scene us out. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.